It is 1859 on a warm autumn day in New York City. The heat of summer has not fully loosened its grip. The air is thick, heavy with coal smoke drifting from the factory stacks, with the sour brine of the East River, with the smell of horse manure baking into the cobblestones. Flies hum lazily in alleyways. Laundry lines stretch between brick buildings like sagging white sails. The city does not rest. It never does. Horse hooves strike stone in a steady clatter. Wagon wheels groan under the weight of barrels and timber. Dock workers shout along the waterfront. A church bell rings somewhere in the distance, muffled by smoke and distance. Above it all rises the constant murmur of 10,000 conversations in Irish, the language of immigrants pressing their luck against a restless nation. Inside a narrow tenement building on the Lower East Side, the noise dulls, but never disappears. It seeps through the walls. Up a tight staircase worn smooth by countless feet, in a single cramped room lit by thin autumn sunlight, a young woman labours. Her name is Henry McCarty. The room smells of sweat, soap and boiled cabbage drifting from a neighbour's stove downstairs. A cracked basin of water sits beside the bed. The wallpaper curls at the edges. Outside the window, a strip of sky glows pale gold between buildings blackened by soot. Catherine grips the bedsheets. She is Irish-born, Catholic, stubborn. She has already crossed an ocean. She has already buried hopes. She believes fiercely in survival. That belief pulses through her now as strongly as the pain. Outside, a cart rattles past. A drunk laughs. Somewhere a baby cries, not hers. And then a sharper cry splits the air. Small, insistent, alive. Henry McCarty is born. For a moment the city falls away. There is only the rhythm of Catherine's breathing and the fragile weight of a child placed in her arms. His skin is red, his fists clenched. His lungs already strong enough to challenge the roar of Manhattan. She studies his face, the soft curve of his cheek, the faint crease between his brows. She whispers a prayer in Irish, a quiet plea that this boy will know something more than struggle. But New York in 1859 is not merciful. The tenements breed sickness. Tuberculosis moves invisibly through the air. Work is hard, wages thin. The streets are crowded with boys who grow fast or do not grow at all. In saloons, men speak of tensions between North and South. The word war hangs unspoken but present, like humidity before a storm. Henry will not remember this room. He will not remember the smell of coal smoke or the sound of the river traffic. But these first breaths matter. They are taken in a city that moves relentlessly forward, ambitious, hungry, expanding. Soon the family will begin drifting west, Indianapolis, Wichita. Then further still, into the wide and uncertain spaces of the New Mexico territory. They will chase dry air for Catherine's lungs. They will chase land, sunlight, and the rumour of fresh beginnings. But for now, he is simply an infant wrapped in worn linen, eyes closed against the brightness of the world. Outside, America stretches toward the horizon. Rails being laid, territories contested, fortunes rising and collapsing in a single season. It is a country building itself quickly and violently, a country that rewards nerve, a country where reputations are made with speed and sometimes with gunfire. Henry does not know this yet. He knows only warmth, the steady heartbeat beneath his ear, the faint rhythm of church bells drifting through soot-streaked air. He sleeps, and somewhere in the vast machinery of the expanding West, history quietly prepares another name for him. Billy, the Kid. The sky is wider now. Gone are the tight brick corridors of New York. Gone is the constant press of bodies and smoke. The wind moves differently out here. Cleaner, drier, restless. By the early 1870s, Henry McCarty stands beneath that sky in the New Mexico territory, a thin boy with watchful eyes and a quick, easy smile. But the journey west has not been gentle. After New York there is Indianapolis, then Wichita. Each move feels temporary, trunks half packed, friendships half formed. His mother, Catherine, coughs more often now. The sound is sharp, persistent, echoing in boarding houses and rented rooms. Tuberculosis follows quietly, like a shadow that never leaves. In Santa Fe, the desert air glows gold at sunset. The Sangre de Cristo mountains turn violet in the distance. Dust hangs in the streets. Church bells drift across adobe walls. Catherine marries again, William Antrim. And for a brief moment there is something like stability, a household, a routine. Henry attends school. He reads well. His handwriting is neat, careful. Those who meet him notice his manners. He is polite, charming even. There is something disarming about him. A softness that doesn't quite match the hard country around him, but stability is fragile. By September 1874, the coughing worsens. Catherine lies in a dim room, the air smelling of medicine and damp cloth. The boy who has crossed half a continent now stands at her bedside. He is 14. Outside, Silver City hums with miners and gamblers. Inside, time narrows again to breath. When she dies, the world shifts. The house feels emptier than its walls suggest. Antrim drifts away. Emotionally first, then physically. Responsibility settles like dust. Henry and his younger brother are alone in a territory that is beautiful but unforgiving. The desert is not kind to boys without protection. At 15, Henry boards with a woman named Sarah Brown. He works for meals, he washes dishes, he carries water, he smiles when spoken to. But hunger is a constant companion, and so is humiliation. The quiet knowledge of being dependent, unwanted. Silver City smells of sweat, leather, and whiskey. Men argue over cards in dim saloons. Pistols rest heavy on wooden tables. Outside, the wind lifts sand in sudden spirals. On September 16th, 1875, exactly 1 year after his mother's death, Henry steals food. It is not dramatic, no grand robbery, just a boy and a loaf of bread. But it is enough. He is arrested, locked behind iron bars that smell of rust and stale air. 10 days later, he steals again. Clothing and pistols from a Chinese laundry. The frontier is tense, divided, suspicious of outsiders. He is caught, jailed, and then he slips away. 2 days later, he is gone. When he steps into the open country beyond Silver City, something changes. The world feels less like a place he belongs to, and more like something he must outrun. The sky stretches endlessly ahead. The land rolls in dry browns and pale greens. Coyotes howl at night. Campfires crackle under stars so sharp they seem close enough to touch. He is 16, still slight, still soft-faced, but now he is a fugitive. And the West has begun to take notice. The desert night is cold, colder than people expect. The fire burns low, snapping and hissing as sap pockets burst in the wood. Horses shift in the dark beyond the circle of light. Somewhere far off, a coyote calls, thin and lonely. The stars stretch endlessly overhead, bright enough to hurt the eyes. Henry McCarty sits close to the flames. He is still slight, still boyish, but something has hardened behind his eyes. By 1877, he is drifting between ranch work and gambling tables in southeastern Arizona. The saloons smell of stale beer, sweat-soaked wool and gun oil. Piano notes stumble through the noise. Cards slap against wood. Laughter turns to insults quickly out here. Pride is currency. Reputation is survival. They call him Kid Antrim. He hates the weakness in it. He watches men closely. How they sit, how they draw, how they let their hands hover near a revolver without seeming to. He learns fast, faster than most. And then, August 17th, 1877, a saloon in the village of Bonita. The afternoon heat presses through the walls. Dust floats in streaks of light. Francis Windy Cahill, a blacksmith built like an ox, begins again. The taunts, the shoves, the public humiliation. He has bullied the kid before. Today he pushes too far. The room goes still. Cahill throws him to the floor. Boots scrape. Chairs tip. There is the smell of whiskey on breath. Leather against skin. They struggle. Hands claw for metal. A gunshot explodes inside the small room. Smoke blooms in the air. Cahill staggers back, confusion spreading across his face before the pain does. He falls hard. Silence. The kid stands there, chest heaving, revolver trembling in his hand. He has crossed a line now, one that cannot be stepped back over. By morning, Cahill is dead, and the boy is wanted for murder. He runs. From Arizona back into New Mexico. Across dry riverbeds, through scrub and mesquite, he steals horses when he must. Sleeps under open sky. Feels every sound as a threat. Every rider on the horizon could be law. Somewhere along the way, he sheds the old name. William H. Bonney. It sounds cleaner, sharper, less like a hungry orphan. In Lincoln County, tensions are already simmering. Powerful men circle one another like wolves over cattle contracts and political control. John Tunstall, young, ambitious English, hires Bonney as a cowboy. For a brief moment there is loyalty, belonging, a sense of standing on the right side of something. Then Tunstall is shot down in the open range. The body lies in the dirt, blood soaking into pale earth. The smell of gunpowder still hanging in the wind. Bonney kneels beside him. Rage replaces fear. What follows is no longer random crime. It is war. The regulators form, affidavits are sworn, warrants issued, and then bullets answer bullets. Sheriff William Brady is cut down in the street. Deputies fall, ambushes spark in canyons and behind adobe walls. The Lincoln County War turns the town into a battlefield. Gunfire cracks through the heat of July 1878. Smoke pours from burning buildings. Men shout in English and Spanish. Horses scream. Wood splinters. Blood darkens the dust. Bonney moves through it all. Quick, focused, almost calm. He fires, he escapes, he survives. Each killing adds weight to his name. Newspapers in Las Vegas, in New York, they begin to print it. Billy the Kid. He is barely 18, and already the West is deciding what kind of legend he will become. Winter settles over New Mexico like a quiet threat. The wind cuts sharper now, slipping through wool coats and under door frames. Frost clings to scrub at dawn. The sky feels enormous and empty. A pale, watchful blue stretching over miles of open country where a man can disappear or be seen from very far away. By 1880, Billy the Kid is no longer just a participant in violence. He is the story. Newspapers carry his name far beyond Lincoln County. In Las Vegas, in Santa Fe, even in New York City, the same city where he was born. Readers scan columns describing a young outlaw who smiles easily and kills quickly. The myth is growing faster than the man, but myth does not keep you warm at night. He sleeps lightly now, in barns, in canyons, in the spare rooms of friends who risk everything by letting him in. Every knock at the door carries tension. Every distant hoofbeat could be a posse. Governor Lew Wallace posts a bounty, $500, dead or alive. That phrase hangs in the air like smoke. Sheriff Pat Garrett begins the hunt in earnest. Tall, patient, quietly relentless. Garrett understands something others do not, that Billy survives on speed and familiarity. He knows the terrain. He knows the people. So Garrett studies the people too. The kid still laughs, still plays cards, still flirts. In Fort Sumner's dim saloons, lamplight flickers across his narrow face. The piano stumbles through dance tunes. Glasses clink. He leans back in his chair as if nothing presses on him at all, but his hand never strays far from his revolver. In December 1880, the net closes. At Stinking Springs, frost crusts the ground. Dawn creeps slowly over low hills. Garrett's posse surrounds a stone house where Billy and his companions hide. The cold seeps into bone. Breath clouds in the air. A rifle cracks. Charlie Baudry falls. The rest surrender. Billy is shackled. Iron bites into his wrists. The smell of sweat, leather, and gun oil fills the cramped transport wagon. Crowds gather when he is moved by train. Faces eager, curious, almost festive. Some expect a monster. Instead, they see a thin young man with bright eyes and an easy grin. "What's the use of looking on the gloomy side?" he reportedly says. But there is gloom now. In April 1881, he stands in a courtroom in Mesilla. The room smells of dust and paper. Boots scrape against wooden floors. The judge's voice is steady, final. He is sentenced to hang May the 13th. In Lincoln, he waits in an upstairs cell of the courthouse. Spring wind rattles the shutters. Outside, merchants calling prices. Children running in the street. Inside, time thickens. On the evening of April 28th, opportunity cracks open. One deputy leaves for supper. Another escorts him to the outhouse. The stairs creak. The handcuffs shift. There is a sudden movement, a struggle. The dull thud of metal striking bone. A gunshot echoes through the courthouse. Deputy James Bell collapses. Moments later, Billy stands at an upstairs window with a shotgun, waiting. "Look up, old boy." Another blast. Deputy Bob Ollinger falls in the street below. Smoke drifts lazily from the barrel. For a heartbeat, Lincoln is silent. Then the kid is moving again, freeing his leg irons with an axe, mounting a horse, riding out beneath a sky washed pink by sunset. Some say he sings as he leaves town. Others say he rides in silence. Either way, he is 21 years old, condemned to hang, and once more, astonishingly, free. But the West is growing smaller around him now, and Pat Garrett is still out there. It is July 14th, 1881. Fort Sumner lies under a thick, breathless darkness. The heat of the day still clings to the adobe walls. Crickets pulse in the long grass. Somewhere in the distance, a horse shifts and snorts. The Pecos River moves slowly through the night, black and silent. Billy the Kid is back among familiar faces. He moves easily here, laughs easily. The worst seems behind him, for the moment. But rumours travel faster than horses, and Pat Garrett has been listening. Near midnight, Garrett sits in the bedroom of Pete Maxwell. The room is unlit, heavy. The only light slips faintly through the doorway from another part of the house. They speak in low voices, waiting. Then, footsteps, soft, quick. The door opens. A figure steps inside the darkened room, barefoot, holding a pistol. He does not see Garrett in the shadows. "Quien es? Quien es?" Who is it? The words hang in the thick air. Garrett recognizes the voice instantly. There is no warning, no speech, no drama. 2 flashes of light, 2 deafening cracks in the small room. The smell of gunpowder fills the air. Sharp, metallic, smoke curls toward the ceiling. Billy, the Kid, falls, 21 years old. The chest wound is mortal. Blood spreads dark across his shirt. The outlaw who slipped handcuffs, outran Pozes, turned himself into a legend. With a revolver, he dies on a dirt floor in near-total darkness. By morning, a coroner's jury gathers. 6 men examine the body. They nod. Yes, It is him. They say so publicly. The town believes it. He is buried quickly. A wooden marker, a small grave, the wind moving through grass above him. No grand monument, no ceremony worthy of the headlines that carried his name eastward. And yet, the story does not end. In the decades that follow, whispers grow. Some say Garrett staged it. Some say the kid slipped away again, laughing quietly at everyone who believed he was dead. In Texas, a man named Ollie Brushy Bill Roberts claims years later that he is the real Billy the Kid. Older now, weathered but alive. He petitions for a pardon. Others come forward too. Stories surface, handwriting is compared, bones are tested. DNA arguments swirl more than a century later. Historians debate in quiet rooms far from the desert wind. But no claim ever settles the question in everyone's mind, because Billy the Kid no longer belongs entirely to history. He belongs to myth. More than 50 films will retell his story. Actors squint beneath wide-brimmed hats. Gunfights are staged. Sometimes he is villain. Sometimes folk hero. Sometimes misunderstood boy, shaped by a brutal frontier. The truth is smaller and sharper. He is an orphan who learns early that the world does not protect the vulnerable. A teenager who discovers that speed and nerve can level the field. A young man caught in a county war between powerful men. A fugitive who survives by instinct. And then, a flash in the dark. What remains is the feeling. The desert at night, the smell of dust and gun oil, the tension before a trigger is pulled. The knowledge that youth can burn bright and fast and vanish just as quickly. Somewhere in Fort Sumner, the wind still moves over that grave. And whether he died there in 1881 or slipped somehow into another life, the name endures. Billy the Kid, forever young, forever running.